You're listening to the Life with Old Dogs podcast, and I'm your host, Dawn Mimnaugh, primary caretaker of all of our wonderful senior German Shepherds right here at Woody's Place Senior German Shepherd Sanctuary. Hey there, folks. Welcome to the very first episode of Life with Old Dogs podcast. I am so excited about this day. A podcast for Woody's Place Senior German Shepherd Sanctuary is something I have ruminated over for some time now. And, I just couldn't find the time to do this. My schedule is so full already with working, with being the primary caretaker for Woody's Place, with being the president of Woody's Place, with us just coming off a pandemic year and volunteerism for Woody's Place being at an all-time low. I've had to wear so many hats this year. It's been insane. And I've wanted to do a podcast for Woody's Place. And I just thought, you know what? I'm just going to throw another hat on my head. There's no time like the present. You know what they say. If you want something done, give it to someone busy. And that is me. And here we are. Okay. Excuse me, folks. So, Life with Old Dogs podcast. Okay. The way I'd like to break this down is I want to have seasons for the podcast or chapters, meaning I am going to be posting a podcast once a week, and then that'll go on for about 6 weeks, and then I'm going to take a little break while I regroup for the next season. Okay, so it's going to be like your favorite TV show. The only difference is each season is going to talk about one topic in particular. So the first season here is going to be based on origins. So I'm going to talk a little bit about myself. I'm Dawn, by the way, and explain how it is I came to be involved with German Shepherds, particularly senior German Shepherds. Then I'm going to discuss Woody and why I decided to start a sanctuary for Woody, based on Woody's memory, I should say. And then, we'll get right into it. What it's like to start a sanctuary, how to start a sanctuary, what it's like to have a sanctuary right here on my own property. It's a full-time job. It's something I never get away from, but it is a labor of love. And as much as there are times when I just break down and cry, I can't do this anymore. It's too much. I never have any time for myself. I don't ever have any help. I just can't do this anymore. I get over that real quick when I look in the eyes of the senior German Shepherds I'm caring for, and I remember all of the senior German Shepherds before them that needed a place to call home, and I think of Woody, and I think, oh my God, just buck up. Just buck up. This too shall pass. You do it because you love it and because you know you can't walk away. And that's the God's honest truth, folks. I just couldn't imagine walking away. At some point, I'm going to be a senior myself, and maybe I won't be able to care for as many senior German Shepherds, but I will be still caring for senior German Shepherds. There's just no doubt about that. So that's how the podcast is going to work. I'm again super excited about this. Another reason I decided to start a podcast is because like myself, I notice more and more people getting away from social media, especially over this pandemic. Social media is great for some things. It's a great way to connect, but it's also got an ugly side. People fight, people bicker. It causes hard feelings, and I just find it to be depressing. Quite honestly, I just find it to be depressing. So I think other people are in the same boat at this point and are steering away from things like Facebook and possibly Instagram or Twitter or whatever. So a podcast is another great way to keep in touch with people without it being volatile, dramatic, depressing, all that stuff that can happen on, Twitter and Facebook. And also because you can be doing other things while you're listening to a podcast. You could be washing dishes. You could be walking your dog. You could be sitting at your desk working and still have an earbud in one ear listening to a podcast. You don't have to actually be on a page scrolling through. You could just be listening. It's like listening to an audiobook while you're doing other things. So that's why a podcast. All right. I believe I've gone on enough about starting a podcast and why a podcast and how the Woody's Place Life with Old Dogs podcast is going to be arranged. So things we're going to be talking about, again, the first season is going to be origins, how the sanctuary came to be, and then we'll take it from there. If there is something you would love to hear us talk about, and when I say us, I'm going to plan this podcast so that, yes, I will be running the podcast. I will be discussing certain things about senior German Shepherds, such as degenerative myelopathy. That would be a season, the ins and outs and diving deep down into degenerative myelopathy and how we handle it here at the sanctuary. But I also plan on interviewing people, such as maybe a veterinarian who specializes in degenerative myelopathy, other rescues and sanctuaries who are dealing primarily with senior dogs. I'd like to interview them as well. Perhaps a nutritionist, a canine nutritionist, because we do a lot of home cooking. So, I'd like to interview a canine nutritionist about the ins and outs of how to home cook properly for your senior German Shepherd. And that is another thing. So this is going to be geared primarily toward senior German Shepherds, but some of the information we're going to be throwing out there, and myself I'm going to be throwing out there, is certainly can be applied to any breed of senior dog. Okay, enough of that. So you have an idea of what's going to be happening here. I'm going to be signing off for now, and I will see you in a week with our very first topic. Thank you all for tuning in.